I met a carpenter in Sault Ste. Marie who lives in a parking lot. That's not an unusual story these days. You know, it's crazy to think that the guys who build our homes can't afford to live in them. But that's the state of it. After 8 years of Trudeau, housing costs have literally doubled. The average rent when I was housing minister 8 years ago was $950. It's now $2,000 and rising every single month. The average mortgage payment for a brand new home was $1,400. Now it's $3,500. Just 8 years. In other words, the cost of housing has risen more in the last 8 years than it had risen in the previous 160 years of Canada's history. There's two reasons for this. One, government money printing flooded the financial system so that wealthy investors could borrow the money, buy up homes and bid up costs. Now the government spending drives up interest rates on mortgage payments, forcing more people to rent, which means more people are competing for a limited supply of rental properties. Finally, we don't have enough homes. We have the fewest homes per capita of any country in the G7, even though we have the most land to build on. Why? Because we have the second slowest building permits. What do you think is the #1 cost input for a newly built home in Toronto, in Vancouver? Anybody want to guess? Is it land? No. Is it labor? No. Is it lumber? No. What is it? Taxes and permits. Taxes and permits. The consultants, the delays, the permitting fees, the development charges, the lawyers, the consultants, none of which actually builds anything. It doesn't go into the window or the roof or the floor or the wall. It's just paper. We've got to remove the bureaucracy to speed up home building and lower the costs. I'm going to require cities boost the number of housing completions by 15% per year, or they're going to lose their federal money. If they beat my target, they'll get a bonus. If they miss my target, they'll get a fine, and it will be strictly proportional. If they beat my target by 10%, they'll get 10% more money. If they miss it by 10%, they'll get 10% less. They'll get paid like realtors on performance. I want the bureaucracies to be thinking about how quickly they can move to get projects like this going. We're going to sell off 6,000 federal buildings and thousands of acres of federal land. And CMHC, you have to deal with CMHC?
Absolutely.
And they take forever to approve project financing, don't they?
Certainly, these days, they certainly do.
How long?
Raj, how long for average?
5-6 months.
5-6 months?
6 months. They're supposed to have it done in 60 days to approve these projects. So I'm passing a law that says either they approve these projects in 60 days or the executives will have their pay cut in half. And if they don't get down to the 60-day target within a year, the entire executive's getting fired. I'm going to pass a law called the Welcome to the Real World Act. Because in the real world, if you're a carpenter or a plumber or an electrician and you don't do your job, you get fired. But in the government, you get a bonus when you screw things up. That's not going to happen anymore. We're going to be firing incompetent government executives and holding them to accountability. Because when they block these projects, people go without homes. I want us to have the fastest building permits in the world here in Canada, and we're going to clear the way to do it. That's going to mean that you're going to have affordable homes, and you're going to be building those homes. Bigger paychecks building homes, more affordable homes for you to live in.